Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, I want to thank everyone for being here. We have people popping in. This is amazing. I love it. Thank you for being here. Hey, Eileen, how are you? Hi. Elaine, yes. And Colleen, yes, yes. Hey, good to see you. Let me see. And Bobby, yes. I love it. Good to see y'all. Lynn, hey, good. I actually started off I'm a quarter of a minute late because I started off on another page and then I realized, oh no, you gotta get onto spiritual healing with Mark Ehrlichs. Oh my God. So, all right. Hey, we're getting some people here. This is awesome. I love it. All right, introducing myself. My name is Mark Ehrlichs, and I am a healer by the grace of God. This is all that I do in my life. And I've been doing it for about maybe 47 years, approximately. Yeah, 47 years. And also, oh, good, good, good. Thanks. Hey, Nini. Hey, and Jane. Good to see y'all. And Diane. Yay! Love it. All you people. I love it. My dear friends. And I've worked with approximately 25 to 35,000 people and taught. And this is it. This is my life. This is my calling. This is my vocation. This is everything. And all I want to do is to give as much as I can. That's what I want to do, is to give as much as I can. And hey, Kathy, good to see you, my dear friend. And Diana, good, good, good. Lovely to see y'all. I love it. This is wonderful. And all right. So first, my main help, my main everything, coordinator and everything is here. That's Lynn. I think we should say hi, Lynn, and give a lot of hearts and do whatever, because she deserves it. She's good, and so thanks a lot, Lynn. I appreciate it. And I do need Lynn to help me learn how to do this on my computer. Hey, Patty. Thank you. Exuberant. Love it. So I hope the volume is good enough for y'all. I don't think I'm trying to make it louder, but it is as loud as it gets. Okay. All right. Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I appreciate that. And that was for Lynn. So, awesome. So, let's see what else. If anyone's interested, I got to say this too. If anyone is interested in appointments with me, I have a couple left this week at different times. And we can coordinate availability and stuff. And then in the day and early evening hours, or right after early. And then there's also next week as well that is available. And there you go. Thanks so much, Lynn, for posting that. I appreciate that. That's in the comment section if anyone's looking for her comments, for Lynn's comments. And Lynn is in Canada. Isn't that neat that we can do this and even worldwide, which is pretty neat. And then also to help support us, we have a oh my God, what is it called? We have a gifting thing on the main web page if anyone is interested to gift. That also helps other people, not only with appointments, but possibly workshops or whatever. The other thing I want to mention is we're just now starting to have a thunderstorm. And there's no rain that I know of yet because the windows close and the curtains close as well. But the thunder is starting to really rumble, and in the Boulder area. Yes, it's support from the heart, and thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. And the link is up there. So let's see what else I want to talk about. We have all the events listed on the main page and in the newsletter. So please do go to that the website, and at the very top tab you'll see the newsletter as it drops down, and please check out the events. And also on this page here, Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs, there will be various events announced prior to the event. So please go to the newsletter and take advantage of seeing what's there, what's available. There's mini classes that are being offered. We just did one on the art of healing that will be posted not only on the YouTube channel, it'll be YouTube first, but it'll also be posted on the Facebook page of Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs. Thanks a lot, Lynn. There you go. There you go. And I think it'll be posted. Hey, Mariko. Mariko's in Japan. I love it. Absolutely love it. Good to see you. And I love the heart. Thank you. Thank you. All of y'all. I love the hearts. And I think that the internet makes it really easy. Hey, Sedona. Thanks for being here. God bless you. And the Art of Healing mini class will be ready. So by tomorrow. That's awesome. And then we'll post it on the Facebook page. And those that are signed up with the Facebook page, Spiritual Matters with Mark Ehrlichs, that page is going to be eliminated, even though it has a couple thousand people in it, 2,500, I think. We will eliminate that, and we'll just keep my personal page, Mark Ehrlichs, and this page, community group, Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs. And the Spiritual Matters is going to go defunct after a short while. We're going to just eliminate it. There's just too many pages, and it's confusing. And in the appointments, I do work with aches and pains and body situations, and I don't change hair color and for anyone, and I don't help them get taller or shorter. If that should happen, it's going to happen with me first. And that'll be about 2 or 3 inches taller, and maybe about 10 more pounds. But I don't work with others with those kinds of things. I will address some emotional issues that people have that are ingrained in them as memories, and I can also work with the physiological, biological, neurological, chronic situations as well, disease states some, and I just see what happens. I never know. Nothing is predetermined, and I pretty much leave it up to God. So other than that, I am available on appointment with Zoom and FaceTime and telephone if anyone's interested. I do got a couple places left, as I mentioned, this week and next week as well, if anyone is interested. There won't be any courses in the month of July, but starting in August, we are going to have a course. And that's the Series 3. For anyone who's taken any of my courses before, it's going to be on spiritual healing, a lot more in depth than what you've been involved with prior to that. Can anyone hear this thunder coming from me, my area here? I'm wondering. It's getting louder and closer. It's threatening. And we do have a lightning strike rod, so not worried about that. Let's see. What else? I can't think of anything really. So all the mini courses, the gathering like this, they're free. And, oh cool, that's neat. Y'all can hear it, that's neat. All right, I got my volume of the phone all the way up, so that's cool. It's raining like crazy here too. That's in Canada, and that's neat. That's neat. Everything that I'm relating in this is things that I've read years and years ago, or they're from my teachings, from my teachers, or mostly, if not most all of it, it's from my own personal experience. And so when I tell a story, or I'm trying to relate where you might personally be coming from in your life that you can also relate to. When I tell stories, I try to tell in pictures. That's how we communicate, is through the pictures of words. And if we're speaking gibberish, we're not making sense, and people won't understand us. So the more purposefully we speak in pictures, the greater the understanding that someone else is going to be able to relate to. And if they don't relate to what we're trying to express, then what I do is and I'll look for if they are relating to what I'm expressing or not, and if they can't, or they have question in their eyes or their face or in their words, then I'll try to relate it in another way. And I try to relate it potentially 3 times until a person understands where I'm coming from, that might be relating to their life. And that's what's important for me, is to try to communicate with people, try to help them to see a different perspective of what's more real that they're not necessarily perceiving in that moment, and which helps people understand. One thing is that we'll be working with questions. There's a few questions that I have, and I'll also be working with, if there's anyone that has a specific one thing, ailment in their body. I won't work with the emotions now. I'll only work with the ailment. I leave the emotions for the appointment, or the mental perceptions, I leave them for the appointment, and which are totally individual and private. I don't want to spew people's personal things to everyone. And so I will work with the body things here, and I'll be calling on a couple people, asking if there's one thing anywhere in your body. And and please feel free to express as soon as possible, so that I can see it several seconds later, because there's a delay from the phone to the live video, and I won't see everything right away. Mariko, in Japan, it's beach day and it's raining. Perfect day to go to the beach. Then if it's raining, not really, because it might be lightning too. But so it's a good day for reading. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I hope you get a lot of reading into, Mariko. So my question from Sue, the first question was, let's see here if I can read it. My question is, what is the key to being objective to the content of a person's drama? What is the key to being objective? Oh, for her to be objective to the content of another person's drama, yet to be able to connect heart to heart with the person's center in that drama. Well, all right, I'll read it one more time fully. My question is, what is the key to being objective to the content of a person's drama, yet to be able to connect heart to heart with the person's center in that drama? Well, first of all, in a workshop that I just recently gave, matter of fact, I think it was the Art of Healing workshop, mini class that I just gave, the free class that Lynn's going to be posting tomorrow, as she expressed. And so everyone, please feel free to see that. It has tons of information in it. Please, it's very exciting. It's a mini class, and it went longer, of course, than 20 minutes or 15 minutes. But enjoy the class. It's really exceptional, I think. Especially the words that came out of my mouth that, surprised me too. So, we were talking in that class, though, I was mentioning that in our evolution, we began with gut to gut. In the beginnings of consciousness coming in, we didn't have the feelings that we had now, the emotions that we had now, or the mental perceptions that we had now. We had gut to gut perception in the beginnings of humankind, with the consciousness that came into us. So we learned in our evolutionary process to develop into those things. So for the first several million years, we went gut to gut, and that was an instinct of us that we utilize in gathering foods and living and surviving and everything. Then over, say, millions of years, it went into from gut to heart, and uh, then the feelings began to come in, the expressions began to come in. This is all my perception and my experience of what I've perceived. And so then it goes from gut to gut, then gut to heart, then it goes into heart to heart, which more people today than ever before are beginning on that path of heart to heart. The next phase in our evolutionary process, in that respect, I should say, is going from heart to mind. And I know a few people that I've met in my life, beginning in my so-called spiritual life from 47 years ago, that were able to communicate in the mind to the heart. And then it goes over, who knows, maybe in 100,000 years or 1,000 years or a couple hundred years, we're evolving into more and more mind to mind. And I know maybe 2 people on this earth who are capable of doing that, maybe 3. And that's our evolutionary process. That's what she's talking about and what I had mentioned in the mini class and talked a little bit more about that. That's when she mentioned to be able to connect heart to heart with a person and in their drama. But it takes, well, first of all, we're the ones who, as I posted this yesterday or in the early morning hours, the wee hours of last night or this morning, and I posted it on Mark Ehrlich's, and I posted it on Mark Ehrlich's personal page and Spiritual Matters with Mark Ehrlich's. We're the ones who take most things personal. No one makes us. No one. And this is the very dynamic, the internal insult that injures mankind in relationships with others and ourself. And ourself. It's our place to learn to catch yourself in the involvement in a situation or of thinking or dilemma or drama or trauma, especially of those memories that we're relating to when we're experiencing those dilemmas and dramas and traumas. We're the ones who reenact our dilemmas, dramas, and traumas all the time in our activities, in our responses, in our lives, and everything that we're relating to. So if we can also notice a commonality of drama, say if it's a feeling, the inability of being loved, that makes us go off into the response that we're giving to others. If we can notice if it's that, then we can know where to start. But the idea in what she was expressing is what is the key to being objective? And it's learning to take a look at ourselves and see where we're coming from. And it's finding out, where in our life, if we can notice for a moment the commonality of that drama that we're experiencing, relating to, and identifying with. It's feeling, when we do feel the inability of being loved, which creates reaction in that inability that makes us go off into every dilemma, drama, and trauma of our lives, and our judgments and our predeterminations, everything. And it's finding that within ourselves. It's being able to stop ourselves for the moment and realizing that it makes you feel awkward because we're not coming from a place of truth from within our heart, of compassion. And even if we're being, we think objective, that's still not a place of compassion. The true being objective is separating ourselves from the dynamics of the world, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. I'd like to. There's a simple exercise that also helps a whole lot, and it'll take us into a more purposeful perspective and direction. If for a moment we can just stop ourselves and count on our fingers like this, and without thinking about what we're perceiving, just counting on our fingers of every thought or feeling or expression out of your mouth. And it's counting on your fingers, catching yourself counting. And if we can do that for 3 days, and I'll tell you about this in a moment, there's other things that we can focus on after this is truly accomplished. See, many years ago, I was taught that exercise, and it got me out of a pattern. And the pattern was every other word out of my mouth was a swear word. And so my teacher gave me that exercise, and for 3 days, from dinner time to the next dinner time, I had a count. And I caught myself every time I thought of a swear word or every time a swear word came out of my mouth. But and I didn't think about every time I counted on my fingers. And you know, I just didn't analyze it. I didn't critique it. I didn't think about it. Nothing. And so I caught myself and I just counted it and let it go. And so we can learn to be, and excuse me, after 3 days, I only was, instead of swearing hundreds or thousands of times a day in my head or out of my mouth, I ended up swearing only maybe 5 times a day. And I never wanted to let that go. So ever since then, it's been no more than 1 to 5 times in one day. But the idea is we can catch ourselves when we aren't being objective. If we can take a look at ourselves in everything we say, feel, do, think, or express, or our interpretation of something being expressed to us, if we can count on our fingers every time we notice that, then the first day you're going to have thousands and thousands of those times. But the idea of the exercise is not to think about it or try to analyze it or critique it. It's just counting it and letting it go every time it's in your head or out of your mouth when we're not being objective. And we have to take a deep look at ourselves while we're doing that exercise to catch ourselves. And the depth of that look only means to wonder about, am I catching myself, or is this one of those times? And if you're thinking that, then it is. And it's just to count it and let it go. But you'll notice also that after 3 days of doing that, you'll find that the objectivity becomes so surreal in you. You won't lose anything. You won't lose your friends. You won't lose anything unless you may notice some destructive behaviors in people after that, and you may not want to be a part of that. Or if that happens, you may find that other types of people are more attracted to you. And this is just one of the dynamics. So it's connecting with the heart, and in heart to heart that gets more into perceiving in deep and true compassion. My perspective of it. It's, again, connecting heart to heart that gets more into the world of perception in deep and true compassion. And totally from the selfless place, without thought, desires, expectations, or control. It's more of a place that, uh, you know, I see it as unconditional, and it's coming from and by the actual love of God that we get to um, uh, not do anything. You'll find that it happens naturally within you. This is the way we're looking for and surviving in our individual lives. What we're striving for, I should say, not surviving, but we're striving for in our individual lives. This is what we've always been looking for. Then we're on the path. Hey, Connie, good to see you, my dear. Then we're on the path, and we're on the way of uh, finding that freedom within ourselves and to know ourselves even more so than we ever thought was possible. And it's shown to us, it's given to us. So I hope all that made sense in some way. And if there's any other questions about that, I'd love to, try to answer you. And my friend Lindsay, she wrote, could you do a anti-COVID meditation? And usually at the end I'll give a meditation. And could you do an anti-COVID meditation and help us to visualize health for ourselves and the world? Well, I love the question. And in all candidness, in my perspective and the way I was brought up into the so-called spirituality, I really don't think that there is a meditation reality for anti-COVID. In our origin of meditation, meditation is looking for our union in and to our source, which is the purpose of the meditation. In that search, we can even search for answers and expand our awarenesses of most anything that we're involved with or we want to find out about. But even in the meditation, to get true answers, it takes deep desire from the heart to request and to receive, and even in perceiving. So we're always wondering about things, and this is the activity of meditation. In our wonderings, that's called contemplation, which is the activity of meditation. Your question is a good one and involves more of a spiritual exercise, which is good. So that's more of a spiritual exercise to do a anti-COVID thing. And it's good. It's good. And the experience, this exercise, it takes depth though. If you want to do an exercise like that, it takes depth of finding out how each person's or each person to perceive it in their way, in their world of expression, but also living what they perceive and are focused in. So if you're going to be attempting something, in other words, like doing an anti-COVID, it's living what you are focused on. And as an exercise, we don't want to confuse exercises with meditations or prayers. They're all three different things. Exercises, prayers, and meditations. They're all three different activities, and they're kind of set up in a consciousness of each person from a long time ago. They carry patterns to them. And but the exercise is living what you perceive and are focused in. And so it's practicing it. And it will contribute, firstly, with helping and contributing to others. The exercise will. And let me see if I can think of anything else to say that. In other words, everything always starts at home. And so if we practice these things, we're developing something within ourselves. We're developing a practice of of a new pattern within ourselves. And we're visualizing and are maintaining the visual in focus, which is difficult to maintain for any period of time until we learn the art of focus. And normally and otherwise, we think of something, and for a few minutes or minutes later, we're involved in other thought. So it's difficult to focus. But what we're doing is learning to focus, and the more you do the exercise, the greater the focus becomes, and the more effective it is. With COVID, it's an exercise we can put into ourself, a discipline. With the COVID, it can turn into a discipline that we put into ourselves without the challenges to ourselves. And what I mean is that we're not defying our source, our godliness, our divinity. We're not defying it by challenging it and thinking that we know better. We're not judging other people who are practicing and practicing, what they believe in, what they think is correct for everyone. We're not in defiance of that and only looking out for ourselves. We're finding a union with other people, but at the same time, we're working with ourselves first in trying to understand what's best for us and how it's going to affect us. We have to really wonder how things that we're doing or our activities are going to affect us and how they're then going to affect others. And if we can come from an honest place without knowing otherwise, or without challenging the divinity or the source that we accept or believe in our life, we're not judging other people. We're just looking out to understand what's better for us, and then we find that that affects other people as well when they come into our atmosphere. So I hope this makes some sense. Diane wanted to know, or Diana, I should say, what is your take on energy work, such as working on body systems, such as chakras, meridians, radiant circuits, etc.? And I didn't get to see the rest. It won't show me, and I apologize for that. My phone just won't show it for the rest of the comment. Let me see if I can find it here. Using exercises, circuits, etc., using exercises hands-on. What about using tuning forks, singing bowls that produce a frequency? Can these help? There's something for everyone. Even the way that I work and teach, it attracts certain people, and without the judgments of any of these other modalities, because there's something for everyone. There's no wrong thing. It's dependent upon the purpose of it and how deep in the heart you can get into it. I know of various modalities of different teachings where the teachers have come to me and wanted to learn my way, and that's fine. But maybe they wanted to learn my way to integrate into their way, or whatever. I only know my way. I don't know anything else. This has been my calling in life. And I also realize that as I get into my way, there's always so much more that can be developed and learned from it. It's a exponential world. And it's the same thing with any other modality. I do know that I've told this story before, many years ago in Chicago. All of a sudden, I had this swarm of people, a ton of people coming to me in Chicago that had went to this one Indian fellow who worked with the Indian ways from India. And what he was doing, it was an older gentleman, and he was on a street called Devon Avenue, a popular street there, and he would put ads in the paper saying, hey, I can help you and I can turn your chakras. which will help you to be better or whatever. But that applied to that continent, in that atmosphere, for those types of people, in that personality of mind. It didn't apply to the people in the United States on this continent with a different evolutionary process. So what he was doing, he was hurting these people. Uh, and sure, he had many, many years experience, but he only went by that concept of what he had learned there. And so these people were coming to me sick, hurting for months or weeks, and for even longer periods of time. And I said, how does this start? And several of them told me about going to this fellow who turned their chakras, and him telling them, oh, it should be reversed. On this continent, it shouldn't be reversed. And so I was able to help them to feel better, and within immediately or within a few days, they started feeling better and started to get less sick. So I personally don't have time to go to other teachings and understandings. I just want to become more involved in what I do, because there's a whole world to be discovered, as with any modality. And it takes a constant being involved in whatever modality it is to get even a greater and greater understanding of it. I know many people who've gotten masters in various forms of healing, but then they'll get them overnight, and or work for them. Some people actually work for them, and they learn to develop it, and it turns into their life. Those are the people, if I were on the street and wasn't doing my thing, those are the people that I would go to. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. That doesn't exist. It's what we utilize it for, and how deep we go into ourselves to try to learn about it. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And there's 15,000 or 100,000 different modalities out there, and it's dependent upon the experience of it and the ability to develop it. As long as you're getting into it with all your heart, and you develop it over months and years, and it just keeps on going. Those are the people that I might want to go to if I was not doing my thing. And I have a lot of friends that do these other modalities, and they've been at it for years and years and years, which is pretty awesome. So, and a lot of the newer modalities are based upon the older ones, just taken into different terminology and a few different exercises of it. So, good question though. I like that. There's no right or wrong, good or bad again. And it's dependent upon how we utilize it, what we do with it, and what we want to project from within ourselves. In my thinking and in my experience, I go directly to that divinity within and say, okay, boss, you do it. Whether it be he or she or it or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't care. The source, it does not care. As long as we're coming to it, it wants to share with us. So, real briefly here, what I'd like to do, is there someone here that would want me to work with one thing, just one thing? Please feel free to express yourself, and I'd love to be able to do that. If it's your arm or your leg or something, please do feel free. And are there any questions about what I talked about as well? Please, anyone, that I can try to answer if you didn't understand what I was referring to with anything. Please, anyone, come on. Hey Wendy, good to see you. Please do the replay. Also, people, if you can just do me a favor and put hashtag you rock or whatever you want, that helps the analytics as well for Facebook. And Yes, the evolutionary process is interesting. And another part of that that may or may not be known about uh, through the histories and the people who know about the ancient histories in our evolution is that at one time we had in our as we formed uh, into physical beings, then our pituitary gland in our skull, our plates were separated. They weren't formed yet. That's why we have the suture lines now, because over the millions and millions of years they developed. And the pituitary gland was actually huge at one time, and it protruded out of the head, and our eyes were like little tiny beads. But over time, when the darkness of the earth from the volcanoes and all the formations of the earth and everything else were forming, and still forming, I should say, when there wasn't when there was a lot of chaos on the earth, then uh, the eyes, as more light came through the atmosphere, the eyes became, over the millions and millions of years, and even more than that, the eyes became less beady and more open, and the pituitary went, it was lessened, and the skull closed more into what we have today in our evolutionary process. Um, our senses even, they're fairly new for us. I think it was 5,000 years ago that, prior to 5,000 years, according to the old texts, the Indian texts and everything, we didn't even have a sense of smell. And before that, several thousand years before that, we didn't even have a sense of color. Everything was, in a sense, black. But originally, with the pituitary as expanded, that was our sense organ. And then later it went into the evolutionary, where we sensed in other ways as well. So, just little tidbits there of info. Let's see here. Yes, it is interesting, Diana. Very, very interesting, Diana. I love that stuff. I talk more about it in other things, in classes and stuff. Let me see here. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. It's good to see you here. So, all right. Any other questions, or is there anyone that is not, feeling well in part of their body that I can work with for a moment or two? Because this time is for that as well. A couple healings I work with during this gathering, and at the end I'll give a really short meditation. Please, any questions? Or anyone wanting me to work with them, please. Thanks, Kathy. I appreciate it. Thanks. And let me see here. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. And let me see here. Well, neck. Okay, Patty. Yay, I got someone. Neck. You can have my neck. All right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to, I'm going to go within myself. I'm not going to try to do anything. I'm going to go within myself, and what will happen is my hands, my spiritual hands, will touch. I'm not talking into anything. You've experienced me before, so you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to work with your neck a little bit, and you tell me what happens, Patty, and we'll see if we can't help relief in there. But what you're going to have to do also is specific exercises for your neck to help redevelop the muscles, even though you're going to feel relief in that, but in what I'm doing. But it's also your place to do specific exercises for the redevelopment of those muscles that are weakened from injury. And so I'm going to really give my heart to this, Patty. I'm already feeling reaction in your body, in your neck area. And also here, this muscle in here, it's sore or between tender and sore. There. All right. Now, Patty, please, I know there's a several second delay, but Patty, please tell me if you notice change that's happened. And some people will feel change right away. Others will, and I don't say this as an excuse for myself because I know this is through experience that out of the thousands and thousands of people, some experience it right away. Many people do. Other people 5 minutes later, or who knows, walking down the street 2 months or 2 months, 2 weeks or 2 months later. And thank you, Patty. Thank you. Um, and so I leave it to each person's needs of what they'll be able to, their body will be able to accept, and the mind perceptions will be able to accept. There's no right or wrong, as I mentioned, no good or bad. It doesn't have to be immediate. The ones who feel it immediate need it immediate. The ones that it develops into a healing, that's perfect. And that's why I say either immediate or within 5 minutes or 2 weeks or 2 months later. People may say, when did it leave me? And whether they've had it for years and years and years. So I never know. All right, good, Patty. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Mariko, she wrote emotional distress. I feel guilty every time I turn salespeople offers down. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But I won't work with the emotional with other people around. But don't feel guilty about that. Well, I can't say don't. Um, we eventually learn how to get over these things, Mariko. Be patient with yourself. You will. um, I know that salespeople are trying to do their best as well, and just like we are, we're trying to do our best. You know. So, hey, Christina, good to see you, my dear friend. And please do, if you all get a chance, see the replays, see if you can get a different perspective of what I have been talking about since the beginning. Okay, what I'd like to do is just, if you don't mind, a real short meditation. And I like this meditation, so I think it applies to things that we've been talking about and things that we're going through in our lives. And all right, good, Christina. Thanks. I appreciate that. And see if Steve can understand as well. Then both of you all can collaborate. So this meditation, I want to have you close your eyes and just sit back and relax. Please try to take advantage of this. And just sit back and relax and take advantage as fully as you can. It's only for a moment. And no one's going to judge you. No one's going to, say anything or do anything because you're by yourself. And so no one's going to know what you're doing and what you're perceiving unless you want to express it later. But ask yourself who you really are. Who you are without the predeterminations, without the thinking. Ask yourself who you are without self-identifications. Ask yourself who you are without survivals or self-determination or prejudgments. And ask yourself who you are besides the person that you see in the mirror in the morning. Ask yourself who you are, who you really, really are, and observe without all those dynamics. Observe yourself without all those other things that make you up in this world. Take a look to see who you really are. Take a look to see who you really are. And ask yourself who you are. Wonder who you really are. Watch what comes up for you. And as you begin to see it, just a tiny, tiny bit, even for less than a moment, if you don't see the whole picture of it, focus back on it, who you really are. Watch yourself inside, who you really are. It's almost like yourself wants to show you, and it's no different than having a scent of some odor, of some perfume, and not knowing exactly what it is. So it's wondering, what is that? What is that? Allow yourself to do that, to wonder who you really are. Let it come to you, not what your thinking is, not what your predeterminations are, not the person you see in the mirror, without your identifications, not those things. Wonder who you are. Let it come to you. That scent that's so far away, and you just know that you have to find out what it is. Wondering deeply. Open your eyes. Practice this. Try this. See what it's like for you to discover yourself. All right. Still got another couple minutes. Anyone have any more questions or comments, or I please, I'm curious if you understood what we were talking about tonight, and if there's anything that I can try to answer or work with, if there's one thing. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. And, all right. Well, let's boogie. You rock. All you guys rock. And thank you so very much. Lynn will be putting this up in another day or two on Facebook, the community page, Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs, and she'll put it up on my personal page, Mark Ehrlichs, just like with the mini course, The Art of Healing, Understanding. So, thank you, Diana. And everyone here, blessings, blessings, blessings. Please look for the free mini courses and the replays of those, and put hashtag replay on those things. Thank you so much, Patty and Heather. Hi, Heather. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Please do watch the replays on this when they are. Well, I'll be putting this up right away on Facebook on the spiritual healing with Mark Orlix. So, blessings. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. Bye-bye, everyone.